expelled from Congress. House members vote George Santos out of office after a scathing report from the Ethics Committee. Now the race to replace him. Good evening. I'm Dick Brennan. Dana is off tonight. We begin with a historic vote to expel George Santos from Congress. We have live team coverage. CBS 2's political reporter Marsha Kramer has what's next for Santos's district on Long Island and Queens. But we begin with CBS 2's Lisa Rosner live in Washington. Lisa.
Well, Dick, I was here back in January to see Santos sworn in, and here again 11 months later to see him take his last vote on the House floor. This was the third try by congressional members to get him expelled. Now, some left this vote disappointed, saying this sets a dangerous precedent because Santos has not been criminally convicted. But for others, they say this was necessary to restore integrity in the institution.
The locks have been changed. The sign has come down moments after this.
The clerk will notify the governor of the state of New York of the action of the House.
The action being 311 representatives voting to expel Santos, exceeding the two-thirds majority needed. 114 voted against it, including Republican Congressman Byron Donalds of Florida, who shook Santos' hand before he left the House floor.
People need to understand that our Constitution was born out of many struggles about human liberty and separation of powers and the ability for everybody to have their day in court.
Santos has pleaded not guilty to 23 federal fraud and conspiracy charges related to his campaign finances. But 2 weeks ago, the House of Representatives Committee on Ethics released a scathing report alleging he deceived donors and used campaign funds for Botox and personal trips. Republican Congressman Michael Guest chairs the committee.
What do you say to his constituents who blame the Republican Party for this taking almost a year?
I think that everyone wanted to make sure and that he receives due process, and that due process required a thorough investigation, and we would have worked with him at any point in time to testify.
It's not a moment to celebrate. It's a moment of satisfaction that the House of Representatives, with overwhelming numbers, confirm that there's a standard of conduct.
Santos Chief of Staff Mark Dunn will still come to the office, which now has a sign for District 3. He drove the car Santos got into after the expulsion vote.
He was pretty resigned, I think. We thought they'd come up short. But so, yeah, it was a little surprising. We wonder if it's going to affect our ability to serve the constituents.
Constituents who traveled to D.C. feel no rep is better than Santos as a rep.
An important precedent was set today that fraudsters, liars, grifters will not be allowed to retain their seat. And he is not the victim in this whole scenario. We are.
Now, since being expelled, we have reached out to Santos for comment. He has not gotten back to us, but last night he did tell me he wants to continue advocating for matters important to him, but he didn't have a clear plan. We are live in Washington, D.C. Lisa Rosner, CBS 2 News.
All right, Lisa, thanks very much.